3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to episode 188 of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And
we
these
have
are the balloons. Hey, we want to welcome everybody back to help celebrate Snooks' birthday. She just turned, they can't hear you dancing. This is so crazy. She does stuff and it's
Okay,
like,
I'll snap my fingers.
say, hey, something.
Hey, okay.
Anyway, so
Whatever. Anyway.
this is Snooks' birthday weekend. So we've been celebrating every single day. Not
For
quite
the
from
weekend.
for the
Don't act like
weekend.
it's been all month.
It's been 2
Actually,
weeks.
it has been. It has been. Love you did some good stuff. I'm proud of you. High five.
No, you easily forgotten.
High five me.
Show him your glass. Show him your glass. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and take a look at the glass. So she and her cousins and everybody are really big on celebrating their Aries and all that stuff. And, you know, and so they got this glass that her daughter had made for her. I think it was last year.
For Christmas.
Oh, was it for Christmas? Okay.
Last Christmas.
Yeah, but anyway, bottom line is that we've been celebrating, and so that's pretty much what we've been up to. But before we go into the shenanigans, just want to remind everybody to go over to Spotify and, go to YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, and go ahead and get that subscription taken care of and give 5 stars. Go ahead and give a rating. Give some love, if you will.
Yep.
Don't just snap your fingers going, oh, we really like it. We really like it. No, we're talking about really get in there and tell a friend and get them to go ahead and subscribe as well.
Ooh, we really like it. We really like it. I like that.
Oh, my
Anyway,
goodness.
Sorry. Okay.
All right, and I'm trying to get the microphone closer to her face.
Oh my goodness.
So that way-
Seriously, you're on the other side of the balloon. You can't even see.
I can see. Anyway, hey, welcome back. So
silly.
so far, let me just ask you, what's been the most fun of the birthday
This weekend?
shenanigans so far this month?
So far this month, I still have to say Alvin Ailey.
Okay, all
I
right.
still have to say that.
Well, this weekend, what was the most fun about this weekend?
Probably dinner. We went to dinner on Friday. Really cute too. So Levy and I and the girls went to dinner because our son is always working whenever we want to do something. Shout out to him because he does have a job. Anyway,
Amen.
so our youngest daughter, Kiki, decided that I don't know, maybe I don't dress well enough or something. I'm not.
She said something to that effect.
Something to that effect. Kind of hurtful. She's like her father. But anyway, she's like, Mom, I'm going to buy you a dress. And I said, okay. I was like, she goes, well, what are you going to wear? And I said, I don't know. I think I got dresses upstairs in the closet. She goes, no, I'm going to buy you a dress. And I was like, okay. I was like, but that kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, lightweight, because the way you said it was like you're implying that I don't know how to dress. She's like, no, I just think you just need some new clothes or new dress or whatever. So we start looking. And if I tell y'all the kind of dresses that my daughter was picking out, I was like, honey, I'm not wearing that. She's like, it's cute, Mom. You look cute in it. Blah, blah. No, I need something a little bit lower and less tight. So
It was definitely dad approved, but not mom approved.
So she found a dress that we both agreed on. So funny, she had bought these shoes that she couldn't fit, and so she gave them to me. Really? So she gave them to me, and she was like, okay, I want to see the whole outfit on, blah, 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 whatever. Then she's like, wait a minute, Dad, what are you wearing? And Dad kind of responded the same way. She was like, I'm going to buy you a shirt so that you and Mom can match. And so she bought him a shirt, and we were matching, and she felt very good about herself.
It was coordinated.
We did look good though. I mean, I'm just saying, we did. I felt like it.
No, we did. I liked it. You know, I guess the best thing that came out of this, though, whether we liked it or not, which we did like it, was that our kid was involved, and she felt really proud that she had coordinated and became our stylist. So
Yeah.
apparently, I too have all the wrong clothes because it's gotten back to me that
Yeah, I was about to say. So, come June, she's already decided that Lovey was getting a new. I don't know if she's gonna do an outfit per se, or she's gonna do a shirt and something like that. So I asked the question. I'm like, so
I should take her with me to the tailor and
oh my gosh,
let her
no.
oversee.
Oh no, you come
She'll put
home
me in
with a
some
whole
skinny
new
pants. And,
a whole new wardrobe. So, but you know what? No, I think we should all go. They do women's clothes too, right?
no,
Oh, then forget it.
it's a men's tailor.
Oh, well, he needs to find a woman tailor.
No, I mean it's just anyway.
I'm just saying, recommend one for me or something. You
Anyway,
don't get to have
as
tailor made clothes, and I don't.
I don't even know how y'all do that. Is there like a dressmaker? Is that even a thing anymore? They got dressmakers?
Isn't that what the tailor is?
The tailor is like all the clothing in there is for men. It's all men's.
No, I know
He's
you
a
just
men's
said
clothier.
but you're saying like, how do we? Is there a dressmaker or something? If there's a man who makes your suits, there's a woman who makes dresses or a man that makes dresses.
Well, then it's up to you to find the woman that makes dresses.
Oh my gosh, he might know someone he could recommend. Anyway, you're killing my vibe for my whole weekend.
Not even.
So anyway, it was good. In the restaurant that we went out to, we've been there before for our anniversary Q1227. Man, if you all have not been there, you need to go. It's in Roseville. Nice place. Food is good. Service is great. So
The ambiance is on point.
yeah,
It's a
it
great
is.
spot.
It really is. And ain't no walk-ins. You got to make reservations too.
A month
so.
in advance. One of my friends on Facebook, they just went this evening.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and they were talking about how they went and they had to get reservations a month in advance, and so she put that recommendation out on Facebook, and some of her friends were like, "Oh, that looks nice. That looks nice. I'm gonna try and make reservations." They all started chiming back in on that same string, talking about, "You wasn't kidding. It's 4 months out. We can't get anything. They're closed down for spring break."
Yep.
And so they're like 4 months. Not 4 months, 4 weeks out for reservations. So it's pretty amazing. It was 4 weeks out even before spring break.
So one thing that I kind of dig is that he took spring break off. I dig that because he recognizes. I feel like he recognizes his staff works hard or whatever, and everybody wants a break. So
Yeah. I don't know if it's paid time off, but I do know that
oh well, there's that.
it's young staff. But and I like how he comes out and talks with the patrons and gets to know everyone.
Very
Chef,
nice.
yeah, Chef was awesome.
Yeah.
He does photo ops the whole 9 yards, so
Yeah,
it's been really cool.
He makes sure you're taken care of. So anyway,
That was Friday.
yeah, that was Friday, and then
Come on, talk about it.
Saturday we went to a crab feed
To support the youth.
to support the youth that your sister. Shout out to my sis Lynette. She asked us did we want to go, so we went, and
Doors are supposed to open at 5:30. What time did they open?
we got inside after 6.
It was like 6:40. No, it was
It
6:40.
wasn't 6:40 when we got in. We didn't stand
By the
outside
time we got
for an
seated,
hour.
it was 6:40.
It wasn't 6:40. We did not stand outside for a whole hour, babe.
I just randomly picked a number. Yeah,
Yeah, you did.
it was 6:40 when we finally sat down.
Anyway, so I don't want to.
It was an interesting evening. Let's just
it was. I have fun though. I mean that because that was my actual birthday, so I had a good time. Just being with family and just hanging out. My sister was mad, and I always tell her she's the mean one. Sis was not very happy.
we could talk about things, but we're not because it was for the children.
It was for the kids, for college.
As
tour.
ODB would say, it's for the children. Wu-Tang for the children.
Cheering.
Wu-Tang for the children. Look, this was definitely a Wu-Tang event, and it was for the children.
But I mean, you support things like that. It's for a good cause. So
Yeah, took a bunch of kids. They're actually leaving tomorrow
yeah, they're leaving tomorrow
to go on a historic. They're visiting 7 colleges.
in 4 states. Not four. What am I saying? A couple states.
I think it's like 3 or 4 states they're
Oh,
traveling.
okay, maybe it's
So
four.
7 colleges. It's a HBCU, historically black college and universities, around starting in Texas, heading out east and down south.
I know they're going to Tennessee and Atlanta.
Tennessee, Atlanta. I thought they said Texas too, but
I don't know. I just know about those two.
so maybe it was three
So.
states.
But anyway, so did that, and then
The money went towards college, to scholarships, as well as funding these college tours
so
for these kids. And it was awesome. They were super appreciative. The kids were serving.
it was fun.
It was fun. It was a good time.
It was fun. It was fun. It's always fun
We
hanging
enjoyed
around
ourselves.
family and stuff. And then today, after we had church, we went to the movies to see Morbius, and that was good. I liked it.
It was pretty cool. You know, it was one of those things where it's a fun, event-filled weekend to celebrate the people that you love. And I think that's the most important thing. It doesn't really matter what we did as long as people enjoyed themselves and Snooks felt celebrated and appreciated. And, you know, that's the theme, it seems. We keep going into this appreciation mode.
Yeah. And the other part, too, though, is, you know, you work hard. Well, we played hard, so I still had to work hard. Still dedicated, having to do my lesson and stuff like that. So even after we came back from dinner, stayed up hecka late on Friday night, stayed up hecka late on the last night.
We got home at 11 o'clock last night. Snooks changed, went down to the kitchen table, and opened up them books. She cracked open them books and got into it.
So, you know, I don't know, and this kind of leads into what we're going to talk about, but one thing that I always feel like I have to, I want to say prove myself, you know, one thing that I know that I suffer with, I didn't even know it was really a name, to be honest with you, until very recently. And it's called Imposter Syndrome, you know, because it's like I want to make sure that I'm at the top of the class. I'm and when I try not to be like, oh, just do the work and get it done, that takes me longer than what I was trying to do in the first place, you know. So, but just I suffer from that. I know I have suffered from that, and that kind of, you know.
Why do you think that is? I mean, why do you
me.
feel as if because you've dealt with this. You dealt with this when it was for your undergraduate as well as for this, where honestly you felt as you always expressed that you didn't feel like you belonged. Like, you know, am I really supposed to do this? Am I smart enough? Am I good enough? Is this what I'm supposed to do? It takes me longer. And like you were making these excuses, like you were the last one that got picked to play kickball.
It definitely goes back to when I was younger. I mean, I don't even know if I could pinpoint exactly when it happened, but there were many instances where I felt like I wasn't sufficient. I wasn't. I'll say more sufficient than I'm not good enough, but I guess kind of the same thing. It was always implied. I felt that myself. So those things just kind of, they stuck with me like glue. And even when I proved myself right, that, oh, I can do this, it's almost like there have been times where I'm like, ooh, did they grade that right? Is that a fluke? You know, so just insecurities about, you know, for myself or whatever.
Well, it's funny because the bottom line is that imposter syndrome, for those of you that don't know exactly what that means, it's this feeling, right, of not belonging and as if you're not enough. And it's kind of difficult to really put into words, but I guess the best way to say it is that you don't accept your strengths, and basically you minimize your strengths and you maximize your shortcomings. But nobody knows your shortcomings, and more times than not, the shortcomings that you think you have, it's an ant, but you're making a molehill out of it. It may not even truly exist to begin with. It's funny, you're talking about, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I belong. This is a woman that graduated magna cum laude with an undergraduate degree, still feeling as if she's not enough.
Don't talk about that. I'm still mad about that paper.
She was going for summa cum laude. She had
Gosh.
She had summa cum laude
In the bag.
envy, not in the back, envy. She was trying to be like, you know,
Bruh. Really?
did I get summa cum laude?
Not you didn't earn that.
Oh, anyway,
Okay, now you want to change.
so I didn't earn it. I didn't earn it. But anyway, no. But the thing is, but no, for you to be magna cum laude, do a phenomenal job in your undergraduate work, while working full time, while raising children, while dealing with a
You.
sometimes out of pocket husband,
I'm on you. No.
right? No, I mean, and to still not feel as if you're good enough.
Well, I mean, I I don't know. I think in anything, it's like when you first start working out. I don't know if I could lift all this weight or whatever. The more reps you do, you're like, oh, okay, I got it. I got it. And it's kind of something like that. The further, I want to say the further. So when class first starts, I can't even tell you. I mean, I'm not even going to be like, oh, yeah, I got this in the bag. I panic. It's almost like I freeze. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't, blah, 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 whatever. Um, and then, but as the assignments come, and I'm just like, okay, because it takes me a while to actually get it. And sometimes I'm trying to read it too fast, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna ever get it. It's just stupid. I'm not doing it. And then when I stop and slow down a little bit more, I'm like, dang, did I read it wrong? Or, oh, okay, I got this. It's just the more I do it, I guess, I get comfortable. Or I want to say comfortable. I feel better about myself, or I feel better about being able to do it. So even when I'm like, I know I got this in the bag, I think my 12-year-old little girl is like, do you really? I say 12, but I think she's younger. Um, do you really? It's always that in the back. So that pushes me to want to be the best. To that want to.
Have I ever made you feel as if you weren't enough?
In our relationship.
No, okay, well, in a
Oh
relationship, and that you weren't good enough for school, that you weren't good enough to get a particular job, that you weren't good enough for whatever, anything.
no, you've never. I mean, I'll say that about Lovey. You know, Lovey drives me crazy. But if I ever need a stroking of my self esteem or whatever, I know that I can go to my husband, and he would tell me, he get mad at me because he's like, what are you talking about? Why you blah, blah, blah. He wants to argue, not argue, but fuss at me for feeling the way that I feel, because the the way that he sees me is like, I'm I don't know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And the only reason I asked that, it wasn't so much to fluff me up, but it was just that a lot
Well,
of
because we're,
times
we're
these
talking about
feelings,
me. No.
exactly, but a lot of these times the feelings that you're expressing and that you're going through, they're all internal.
Mhm.
We talk about these internal and external factors that can make you feel a certain way. And I feel as if the external factors may have happened early on in life. And then the internal piece. And we say, okay, somebody gave you this horrible gift. They gave you what is it? What's that gift they give you during
Fruitcake.
Fruitcake. Yes. Somebody gave you an emotional fruitcake at an early age, and you're holding on to it for dear life, and you refuse to give it away.
And that is so that's very true, because like I said, I always refer back to my 12-year-old self. And I say 12 just because I know that sorry. I know that there was, something that happened when I was 12 that really I felt scarred me, but there were things that happened prior to that. Maybe the 12-year-old was just the icing on the cake. But there have been things, when someone close to you hurts you, and they people claim to love you, and oh yeah, I love you, whatever. And as a child, you trust this person, or whatever, and they're hurtful and they say mean things, and you're just like, wow, if this person who's supposed to love me, you know Then if someone else says something bad about me, then okay, I probably believe it. Well, I'd fight.
It's truth.
That's different.
It's
But
truth. And it's funny, those things really come up, and we're going to talk about this within the context of a marriage.
mhm,
But even myself, it's funny. As you're talking about 12-year-old you and the things you're going through that you went through that you were scarred, I think back to those things that really changed the way that I grew up. And it's funny, even as a young boy, it's funny. I was a bedwetter. I was one of those kids that, for whatever reason, I was like, I ain't getting up.
okay, Olena.
Right? Yeah, maybe it's genetic. I pass it down to my grandkids. But no, but I was. I mean, all the way up, and it's so funny. It was all the way up until like middle school. I refused to spend the night over a friend's house because I was afraid that.
You might go with the bed.
Yeah, and it was like once every 2 weeks or something like that. But it was usually because I was being lazy. I stayed up. I drank way too much water or whatever. But I also remember going back to visit family in Virginia. My grandmother would beat me. I mean, beat me.
Grandma Nanny.
Because Grandma Nanny man, she was all of 4 feet tall,
Yeah.
but she had a heavy hand. And she was like, "You're just lazy. You're lazy. You're lazy." And it was one of these things where I think I grew up trying to overcompensate. So rather than be lazy, like she said I was, I always tried to outdo everyone when it came to athletics as I got older and I started getting the chubbiness off. And and school and everything else, because this thing about being lazy, even right now, I think about it with the kids. It's like if something's not working, my initial response, my go-to is work harder. Dig deeper,
Mhm.
do that. And it was just because that was my mentality growing up, and it's a bit of it's like a scarring that I'm just now thinking about listening to you that I do. But within the context of marriage, imposter syndrome can cause all kinds of worries. It's not even just about the things that they're all perceived, right? Because you think your partner's going to discover you're not as cool or as great or as amazing as they might think you are,
Mhm.
and ultimately end the relationship.
Mhm. That's true.
And if it's not addressed, I mean, if you let that thing fester and boil and grow, you said
I
insecurities.
was about to say, I was getting ready to say that it stems from insecurities, and a lot of time our insecurities in different areas, and going back from childhood to even growing up now, if those insecurities they're fed, they just
Mm.
become bigger and bigger and bigger, and like you say, you could for you, fortunately, even though you were over trying to overcompensate. I mean, I feel like maybe that was a positive thing for you. You're doing it positively, I should say, at that time. At that
I was
time
yeah, because it
in
manifested in a
school,
very negative way
and
later.
exactly. So when things don't are not addressed, it could be that it manifests in negative ways, or even you sit and you dwell in places where you shouldn't be.
What do you mean?
Like it could keep you in a bad relationship. It could keep you stuck
Because you're not
because
good
you
enough.
think that you're not good enough.
Mm.
And if someone gets wind to that's how you feel about yourself, if they're a toxic type of person, they will definitely, I feel, they will definitely use that against you as a control type of thing.
Oh,
Well,
that's a narcissistic
where you
playground.
going? You ain't nobody gonna want you anyway. Ain't no, whatever, whatever.
Where you gonna go? Ain't nobody gonna love
Right,
you the way
right,
you look. You're lucky
right.
I'm. Yeah. Look,
All kind of
we've
things.
seen the Ike. Everybody is. If you have it, if you don't know one personally, I mean, I'm sure you heard of a
Yeah.
few that are out there.
I was about to say I got some in my family, so you know.
It's happening, and if we're all being truthful, many of us have these individuals
Hmm.
within our family. So what does it feel like in a relationship though when it shows up? Right? Not everyone is going to experience it the same way. Like it's funny, the way you're talking about it is very different from the way that I experienced it.
Hmm.
And I talked about overcoming or overcompensating in sports or in trying to please people, but I also overcompensated. I mean, I started smoking marijuana in the 4th grade, and it was to fit in
I
because
was
I
gonna
had a
ask you. So, do you think it was more because you were trying to fit in?
Well, the person that started me on it was an adult, and was kind of like a father figure. It wasn't my father, but it was like a father figure, and the fact that he was taking an interest in me, and it was like my cool, my cool relative. The fact that I was chosen to do this, yeah. I mean, I was like, yeah, okay. I finally feel accepted. I'm cool enough, because I wasn't cool enough. I fell when I was young, and this is before. This is right, but this is before I got into because in fourth grade, first through third, I was a chubby. Well, first through fourth, I was a chubby kid. And top off the fact that I had an accident where I was running playing tag and tripped underneath some bleachers.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
And my face came down across this steel bar, and it chipped my tooth, and my front tooth, not chipped, it went diagonal from the top, from my gums all the way down to where it was just like if you take a square and you cut it, that's exactly what it looked like. So I had to get a silver tooth. So the cap I got was silver. It wasn't ceramic or anything like that.
Not back then. I don't even know if they had those.
No. So people were calling me Silverback and Silver Streak, and it was horrible.
Hurtful.
It was hurtful. I mean, I had a few friends. Well, a couple of friends.
You okay?
I know. It's like a therapy session all of a sudden. I know.
You're safe. You're in a safe space.
Thank you, because I was going back. But it's one of those things where, because of that, I was seeking acceptance, right? And so not everybody experiences it the same way, and the signs are connected by circumstances and challenges that stem from our childhood, as well as prior relationships.
And so, one of the things that can create is you have, there's a need to be perfect, and do you know how much that's a lot of pressure? It causes anxiety. If you feel like I have to be perfect, it's like, what is that movie, Stepford Wives or whatever,
right?
And if you're not meeting that, then that's a psyche type of thing too. You can fall into depression, and you start self-talk, negative self-talk. I'm so stupid. Oh my God, how come I didn't know this? How come I didn't, just it goes there. And it can even cause, I feel like, some people, when they can't handle that emotional pressure, then that might lead you to indulge in alcohol or narcotics or
Sex,
any type of
things.
negative a negative type of behavior, adverse behavior.
But what's funny? You said that you do this negative self-talk. I'm gonna call you out because there are times
you
where
don't need to be telling everybody my business.
Yeah, I do. No, but there are times where I get on you, where you sit there like you'll do something like, "Oh, I'm so stupid," like, "Oh, that was so dumb. Why did I do that?" Or just little things, and it's like, "Hey, don't say that."
And you do say that, and I know that's a bad habit that I have. I'm like, "Oh my God, are you stupid now? What the heck?" Because that's my need to be perfect, because I should know it, and I should, as much as I'm like in on it, why am I doing silly little stupid mistakes?
Yeah, but it creates this I don't know, what do you call it? Insecurity, right?
Yeah,
Self-doubt.
Yeah, a lot of self-doubt, but then also, having to think about it. So it does something it affects you also. So now I'm not just affecting myself, I'm affecting you, because Lovey's very protective of me, and he's like, don't talk to your mom like that, don't blah blah blah, and I'm like, I got this, but he's like, no, I'm gonna protect you. And even from myself, he's that way. What are you talking about? I don't like when you blah 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 whatever. So I always appreciate it, because he does look out for me in that sense, unless I do something he doesn't like leave the cabinets open or something.
Then all of a sudden it's like, no, what
the heck? No.
Right. No, but it's the challenge though. But when I'm talking about that self-doubt, it makes you feel as if or start to doubt whether you're good enough to have this relationship. If it's a good relationship, right? And is my life too good? I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, I'm just waiting for something bad to happen. But it's like, see, there it is. I knew it. I knew it was too good to be true.
I knew it was going to happen. But I feel like we're conditioned to be that way. This all goes back to kind of like childhood. I feel like we're conditioned to be that way because we're always told, don't get your hopes up high. You know what I'm saying? As a kid, oh, well,
True.
don't get your hopes up too high. Well, we'll see. And, it wasn't never, I won't say ever, ever, but for the most part, it wasn't ever, yeah, we got this, whatever. Well, it was always, we'll see, or don't get your hopes up high, or I don't know. It was never anything concrete. So,
There's this guy. We live in Northern California, and then there's this researcher. It's a psychotherapist in San Francisco, and I read something that his name's Jacob Brown, and what he had said was that there's an amount of shame that plays a part in when it comes to having this imposter syndrome. And a direct quote from him was, "The closeness and vulnerability you feel with your partner can be so overwhelming." Meaning, like, I feel really close to this person, and I'm when you feel close to somebody, you start to become vulnerable. You open up, right? And he's saying that the closeness and vulnerability that you feel with your partner can be so overwhelming. Didn't say it was negative, just that it's overwhelming, like something that's foreign, that it triggers deep feelings of shame.
because if you knew what I've done before, or, you might be like, ooh, you are not who I thought you were. And then you leave. So I think that is one of the things that could be stopping people from being vulnerable. As a matter of fact, I know it is. Um, it's like a fear. Because what would you think of me? You know, what would you say about me? Because I'm not, in my eyes, I'm not who I told you I was because of my back history. So it's like, no, that's not the case. If I'm doing those bad things that I was doing prior, then okay, that's one thing. But on the flip side of that, what about being vulnerable and saying, "Hey, this is what it is." When you get to a certain level in your relationship, the part where you feel like you can share more, they've earned the trust.
Right.
So, what about, I want to say, just come out and be like, okay, I'm finna tell you all my dirty laundry, whatever.
I did that with you. Not at the very beginning.
Well,
Not
I
at
mean,
Jump Street.
no, but like I said, because
You
it's
earned it.
stages,
Yeah. You earned it, though.
So, do you think that it's better for people to just go and get it out the way, or hold on to it and keep it tight?
It just depends. Depends on the individual. We all have different personalities. I'm very, very outgoing. I can be very much in your face to a certain extent. I think
Yes.
I'm controlled in certain
I thought you were going to
environments.
say controlling.
That's what you're saying. Yes.
No, it
Yes.
wasn't.
Yes. She's like,
No.
yes, he's very controlling. No.
No.
No, but it's where I'm open and I don't mind sharing certain things, all my missteps, challenges I've had. I was having a conversation earlier with our daughter today about talking about my youth and things that I had done that I shouldn't have done. Not to make her feel better, but just to say that young people do dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sharing that with her, and it wasn't to glorify it. It was just to let her know that I'm human, and that this is stuff that that transpired, and I survived it.
Because they don't think you've ever done anything wrong. Ever. Ever.
Yeah, I don't know where they get that from,
Ever.
but I mean, but it's one of those things where it just depends. Different individuals, like you're on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's like, you're a little bit more
Reserved.
reserved. That's a good word. Reserved and not so open. And even though I've earned it, I mean, I know everything about you, but it's one of those things where it takes time.
Yeah, I asked that question though because just kind of thinking about it. So if I'm holding stuff too close to my chest for fear that if you found out what I think, what I
Right.
think is bad or whatever, if you found this out, then you'd leave. It's it makes me wonder, then are you that person for me?
Mm.
Are you the person that I'm supposed to be with? Because we all have, we're all human. We've all fallen short. We've all done things that we've probably been ashamed of, and be like, oh my God, there's certain things I'm like right now, I'm like, ugh, that makes me cringe when I think of what I did or how I acted or whatever. But if I'm that afraid of you finding that out, because I think it's gonna tarnish how you feel about me, then maybe you're just not the one.
Amen. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And likewise, I mean, I cringe. Like, I would, oh my God. If my daughter's ever dated a guy like me at that age that they're at, oh God, I'd be in jail. Because I would definitely catch a case if I caught them with somebody like me back then. But in the same respect, it's one of those things that, I think it's something that we grow out of. But you're right. It's if the person isn't worthy of what they're saying, or are you telling them, then they're definitely not the one. And that's part of the challenge, is just recognizing that, well, am I supposed to be with this individual? Do I feel comfortable with this individual? But you got to ask yourself, what does it sound like? And again, I think most of the damage isn't done exterior; it's done internally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's certain thoughts. If you've ever thought to yourself, "She's way too smart," right? Like, oh, she's way too smart and beautiful, to be with somebody like me. What's wrong with her? Why would she think I'm this? Is there something going on? She's obviously hiding something, because nobody's that good, and if they were, they wouldn't be with me. So she's definitely got something going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's cheating on me. It's like,
Yeah,
those are
no, I know exactly what you're saying. Or oh, he's gonna see right through me, and when he sees through me, he's gonna end it, and you know, that's. It's funny because just thinking about it, imposter syndrome, that's a lot of work. It's like acting,
it's like having a mask on.
Yeah, yeah, all the time. I'm in character because I'm acting a certain kind of way, but it becomes so exhausting. I can,
It's work.
It's exhausting with feeling that way about my schoolwork, and that's just when I'm sitting down looking at an assignment or whatever. If I felt like that in my relationship, a daily interaction, where emotions and everything, and I feel like I have to, because he's gonna, oh my gosh, I would be tired.
And isn't that part of the exhaustion that happens in relationships? Because you're thinking, what's going on? It's like, I'm always tired. I'm exhausted. You're emotionally drained.
Or you just out of the blue, I just don't want to do this anymore. And the other person's like, what the heck? What are you talking about? Oh my God, because all I do is blah, 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 blah. And they're like, I never asked you to do any of that kind of stuff. So you put all these, what's the word I'm looking for? You put all these expectations on yourself that the other person never even, they're like, I was cool with just, it's like, oh, every time we go out, we have to go to Q1227 or something like that. You're like, I just want to go to Jim Boy's Tacos. I'm cool with, but you feel like I want that. So you're trying to over deliver on something I never even said I wanted in the first place.
True. There's a lot of, it's these self-defeating behaviors that we adopt.
Mm-hmm.
It's a form of self-sabotage.
Because it goes back to the imposter syndrome.
Think about it. When you're talking about sabotaging yourself, right, and undoing your relationship or whatever, and this is all subconscious. No one's actively saying, "Oh, okay, let's see. Today it's Wednesday, and it's self-sabotage day. Okay, today, how am I gonna destroy my relationship and my feeling of self-worth?" No, this is deeply rooted to where you might even be listening right now, like, I don't do that. But then if you really take a moment to think, do I do any of these? Okay, so some of the behaviors. Do I ever assume that my partner has bad intentions or doesn't have my best interest at heart? Mm-hmm. And why? And ask yourself why. For a lot of these things, why?
Or kind of like us ignoring the problems in the relationship.
Years 1 through 4.
1 through 4. Yeah, we okay, kind of swept everything under the rug, and then when it blew, it blew. We're better for it, thank God, but not everyone is able to come back from that.
And it takes, not everyone's able to. It takes a lot. Mm-hmm. And yet people emotionally check out from the relationship. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, they're just like, okay, whatever. I can't tell you
we're roommates
how
now.
many people I have friends where they're emotionally checked out of the relationship. It's like, no, yeah, like you said, we're roommates now.
Yeah. And you stay comfortable in that, And like you said earlier, kind of like trusting your partner. What are they doing? Why would they, you're always suspicious of what they're doing because they're not satisfied with you, but they stay with you for,
Right.
excuse me,
And feeling drained, what you were just talking about, how it's exhausting and all that, it's because you're never being your authentic, genuine self.
Because I'm always in character. Always in character.
These are the way these self-defeating behaviors will sabotage a relationship. But before we continue, we are going to continue this conversation. But before I do, I have to say that another way to sabotage your relationship is to not make preparations to protect your family. I'm not going to go into it deep, but I will say this, that there's a variety of things that you can do right now that will help your family thrive and create legacy. Okay, so case in point, in case you're not aware of it, we're not all going to live forever.
Forever?
Forever? It doesn't happen. So what happens when you're working really hard? You're listening to us. You're going to coaching. You're getting counseling. You're going to marriage conferences. You're reading books. You're going out on date nights. You're really building this strong bond, and then something happens. One of you is gone. You put in all this work, and now a family is left behind. Do you want them to have the undue stress of doing car washes, having a garage sale, fish fraud, going online and asking for money, GoFundMes, to make sure that they can lay you to rest and then maybe potentially still keep their home?
Yeah. So, and just the other side of that too, though, is if you have all this information, so say you do have a policy, you guys got your, and I got all my stuff in order, blah, blah, blah. Does the spouse know that it's in order? I mean, our stuff is in order, but I have to make sure that I'm like, I need to tell Lovey, blah, 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 because I handle all of the finances and stuff. So there are people that have had everything together, but their spouse didn't know where anything was. So,
True. Some have right now, I'll be like, it's in this house somewhere. It's somewhere in this office. I have no idea where, but I know it's in here. But I mean, what you can do, how do you do this? Look, it's extremely inexpensive. There's going to be some notes in our show notes. There's going to be a link where you can reach out to yourfinancialfreedomfighter.com. Just go there, look at the information and reach out and get a free consultation with James Martin. Jimmy is a guy that we trust our family with. And he's helped us ensure that, God forbid, anything happens to one of us, that we're taken care of. The survivors are taken care of. You can make it as simple or as elaborate as you want, and he can walk you through it. And he can also tell you, like, oh, no, you're good. You're fine. Nice making your acquaintance, and let's just keep it moving. But if you need something, he will definitely ensure that you know it. But there's power in gaining knowledge, but also applying it. Don't just know that you need to do something. Take action on it. And go ahead and check the show notes and reach out to James Martin at yourfinancialfreedomfighter.com. Now, I do want to also remind you that everything we're talking about today, it's great for discussion points, but there's certain things that you need to do. There needs to be action items on self-help as well. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, when it's all said and done, we're responsible for our mental health to a certain extent. You can't let people walk all over you, but then when you know better, you do better, or you should do better when you know better.
Well, then also just, you brought up mental health. When you're struggling, don't be afraid to go get help, to say, hey, I need some assistance here, because that's so important and it's so key. Don't ever think that, that means I'm weak. No, that means you're smart if you recognize it.
Right.
So
what can you do? Like if you or your spouse experience imposter syndrome, if you notice some of those things that we've talked about, there's like 6 things that we're going to recommend that you can actually do to pull yourself up, or at least if you can just find one out of these 6 things that you can do, that you can commit to. Don't try and do all 6. Don't try and do 3 of them. I'm going to do 4 of these. No, Find one
Start with one at a time.
and master that. And then when you get good at that one,
Mm-hmm.
then pick another one. Like, okay, I'm going to add this.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I'm going to do is recognize when you hear internally or externally, if somebody says something to you, or like I point out Snooks. Oh, I'm so stupid for doing that. When you recognize that you've done that,
I don't quite say it that
No.
vehemently, but
no. But when you hear these self-limiting statements,
Mhm.
half the battle isn't recognizing it, knowing that you just did that and be like, oh, you know what? Nope. You know what? I'm smart. I'm beautiful. I can do these things. I'm more than capable. Fix it. Recognize it when you hear it, right? And don't just brush it on the rug like, oh, okay, there I did it again. No, do something about it.
Mhm. That's true. Well, part of doing something about it is the affirmations for self-esteem. That's so key and that's so important because we can't rely on other people to lift us up. It's great if they can or if they do, whatever, but you're with yourself 24 hours a day. Not everyone is with you for 24 hours a day, you know. So it's important to realize that you have to start doing some self-talk for your self-esteem too. Affirmations.
And when we talked about you earn the right to actually have those conversations with your spouse or your significant other, you got to talk to them about your fears and your insecurities because you're a team, right? You're supposed to be a team. And the best thing you can do, like in volleyball, what we coach our girls to do is that after every point, whether we gain a point or we lose a point, when that play stops, all the girls come together in the middle of the court, they hug each other and talk about, okay, let's do this on this play. Let's do this. Let's do this better. Okay, we can do this. There's this, we tell them to talk amongst themselves just quickly. Sometimes it's like, hey, we got this. It can be really short, but you have to come together and talk about your fears and your insecurities. And you need to do that as a couple as well. You recognize something's going wrong or you have these fears that are starting to grow, or you're starting to recognize these insecurities, or you recognize that you're saying these self-limiting statements. Come together, talk about it.
And so what is it? There's something that, and I don't know the actual correct phrase that you say, but not just you, but everyone. It's like your brain doesn't know when it's not real. So you have to tell yourself that it is real. You have to,
Right. No, it's true. Like, so when you're talking about visualization,
there you go. It doesn't know that that's not the real thing that's happening. So that's what you need to start doing. Practice giving yourself, I said visualizations, affirmations, affirming who you are,
compliments,
Yeah, I sure look good today.
right? Let the inner you know that you appreciate you.
I appreciate me.
Hey, that's real talk right there. Let the inner you know, like, you know what, I look good. Instead of saying, oh, man, I'm so fat, I can't fit this. I'm never going to get in these jeans. Oh, what am I thinking, man? Oh, this looks horrible. No, it's like, oh, you know what? You look good. You're on your way. You are on your way to actually having that body. I see where we're going. I see you. How many times do you look in the mirror and go, oh, yeah, okay. I see you. Yeah. We doing stuff. I see a little vein. Okay. Wait till next week. Instead of like, this is not working.
Here we go.
There we go again. Fat. And I'm just talking about that, but practice giving yourself compliments and let your inner self know that you appreciate you. Because if you don't appreciate you, how's anybody else going to do it? And I'm just going to say this too. Avoid comparisons about what each of you bring to the table. Don't compare yourself to like, oh, well, she makes more than me. And I know we always talk about ourselves to a certain extent, but when Snooks and I got married, when we got together, she made 3 times as much as I did. I wasn't tripping. She was fine. And she was getting paid. She was getting broke off. It wasn't like, I don't know about you. You make more money than me. I was not one of them brothers. I was like, oh, wee. But she never once came and was like, look here, bro.
I'm going to need you to step up your game, homie.
It wasn't just stepping up my game. You didn't come up and hold it over my head like, look, I make the money. I make the decisions. She did try and make all the decisions. We talked about how she liked to lead on the dance floor, and we had to wrestle.
Whatever.
But that was just because she was who she was. She was an independent woman. Had nothing about she made more money and all that. But you can't compare that or who's more romantic. You could have these fun
If it's
jests.
fun, I was about to say because we have competitions.
Oh, we do compete. We compete. Who
Could
could love you better?
Yeah, who could outlove?
I'm gonna outlove you, girl. I love you. I love you more.
Always. Every time we go to bed, it's like, okay, love you. And before he says it, I'll say it with him. Love you more.
Or she'll pull out the trump card, the one that trumps everything else.
Love you the mostliest.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Shout out to Grandma Lula in heaven.
Lula May.
The
Lula May
mostliest.
McLaughlin. Lula May Butler. But yeah, but avoid those comparisons because comparisons are the thieves of all joy.
Mm-hmm. And then you want to surround yourself with people who appreciate and celebrate you.
Yes.
What does that say? Go where you're appreciated, not where you're tolerated, or celebrated, not tolerated.
Yep.
Something like that.
Go where you're celebrated, not tolerated.
Yeah.
And you need to surround yourself with people that celebrate you, not just who you are right now, but that can also recognize the progress that you've been making. I see you. You guys used to argue all the time, but I love how you two are laughing more. And they say people need to acknowledge that, and you need to have yourself surrounded by those individuals instead of those that are going to nitpick and say, "Yeah, I remember when you used to do this and da 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 da."
Bringing up old stuff.
Bringing up old stuff, right?
And so that kind of is like having an iron tribe. That's one of the most important things for relationships. Have an iron tribe. You want to surround yourselves with couples that love like you love, that are like-minded like you are. I can't tell you how many times we've been to certain places where we're the only ones. We're married, but we're the only ones acting like we like each other. And like, can we go now? Because the energy is draining me.
Let's just go to Taco Bell and hang out.
Can we just leave? I don't like it. I don't like it. But that is so important. Because we believe in marriage. I love love. I've always said that, and I want to see everyone happily married and whatever. But there are some people who are kind of toxic in their relationships, and so what is that? Misery loves company.
It does. We look like Cinque up in these parties. Give us free. Give us free. Let us go.
Let us go. Be like, okay, yeah.
And it's what we're talking about is based on Proverbs 27:17. When we talk about how iron sharpens iron, we always say, just as iron sharpens iron, we as couples should sharpen each other. Surround yourselves that are going to sharpen you, not dull you. You don't want other couples that will dull your sword. We have enough things out there that are attacking our marriages.
Right, exactly.
Right? So look, we're not going to belabor the point. Look, if you feel as if you've ever experienced and you are experiencing imposter syndrome, we hope that what we've talked about tonight gives you some tools and some resources to be able to combat it a little bit, work with each other, help each other. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and reach out to us, but also go over to marriedintocrazy.com and go to the tab that says question of the month or monthly question and answer the question there. You can either leave an answer there or you can turn around and email us at coaching@marriedintocrazy.com. Shoot us an answer there. So you've got a couple of different ways. You can just hit the button and leave your voice recording, which we will include in the podcast, or you can turn around and just email us. The question's also out there on Facebook. We've got quite a few responses that have come in from a variety of different sources, so we're going to include those and read them, but we'd love to also hear your voice. Why are you laughing?
Because we'd love to hear your voice.
Amen. Well, until the next time, don't be an imposter.
Oh, okay.
Don't be an imposter and be blessed.
Bye-bye.